What's up, guys? Philip, Zach, and Brian Meany over there.
Brian Meany.
This is our Last of Us Season 2, Episode 3 review.
Yeah.
Really good episode.
Yeah, it was a good episode.
But a lot more somber, especially with given everything that's happened in Episode 1 and 2.
Yeah.
We had the death of a major protagonist, one who I held deeply into my heart ever since 2013 of the original game. Played the remaster, and then again on PS5.
Yeah, and we had to relive it again.
Fuck, dude.
I know. It was bad.
Brutal. Still reeling, even though like 2-3 weeks later. 2 weeks? To kill Joel.
And leave.
And just come in, fuck shit up.
That's exactly.
Get the fuck out.
Exactly what happened.
He was the only one on their hit list because it came back around beautifully. That when I think about what the fuck we're doing, it is that doctor putting his hands up and him not even caring. He didn't have to kill him, but he still. I mean, I don't think anybody else there would have known. He left one survivor. I guess that's how it got out. But I think back even like the surgeon putting his hands up and Joel still pulling the trigger. Mm-hmm. That was Abby's dad, as she lets us know so early in the media.
Yeah.
Kills him. There was an attack on Jackson. Now we're picking up after that.
Yeah. This is a recovery episode.
So this episode starts out Tommy grieving over his brother.
Yep.
And he's
loss.
cleaning up. Yeah. He's lost him once. They didn't talk for a while. Been living together. Now he's having to deal with that death from his brother. He's cleaning up Joel's body, right? Or is he just cleaning up a body?
With the body.
Okay.
You know. I think he takes his watch off, the broken watch.
Mm-hmm.
And
it'll hold a lot of sentimental value here later.
Yeah.
And then the camera pans out. There's loads of bodies.
Oh, yeah,
like this is just
the makeshift morgue.
Mm-hmm.
Like Joel died, and he wasn't even in the battle. Like these assholes just came out of nowhere, killed Joel, left, and nobody in Jackson knows why they did it.
Mm-mm. They just know that somebody did it.
Yeah, they just know that.
How do they know? Okay, so we'll get to that. Cuts to the Jackson Hospital, right?
Yep. With Ellie.
She just wakes up screaming.
Yeah.
Is there a time jump at this point? Or
yeah. Like that scene cuts short right after that, and it's like 3 months later.
Okay. And that's when she wakes up screaming?
No, she wakes up screaming.
And then
it cuts.
Okay, so she was just having those nightmares, just reliving that stuff over and over.
Now I think we're still in the hospital.
Because of everything that she got from that beating.
I guess she got really, like, a lung might have been damaged or something. Because
Okay.
she was wheezing real bad.
Yeah.
But she gets recovered, and she's got to talk to the therapist.
And then they kind of say, I guess she's been down for so many months.
Mm-hmm.
Her muscles are atrophying, like no working out or anything. So she's gotten significantly weaker.
She mentioned that she was doing push-ups and sit-ups. Like
Yeah,
when the
that's when he was saying you're trying to work back to where you were,
Yeah.
and then she was like, "Well, I'm close to back being where I was," and he says, "Well, you're 80% of where you should have been."
Yeah, that was to Jesse, right?
Right.
Like she was up there hitting heavy bag.
So they're kind of just jumped around. Ellie's recovering and reliving Joel's death. And then, 3 months later, she's getting ready to get dismissed from the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
They feel that she's recovered enough. This is after the 3 months, right? And then she passes all of her physicals, which probably even more now in a civilized society than when we than they are in the post-apocalyptic.
Probably.
It's like
everybody's in shape
yeah.
more.
Well, the past is the physical, and then they got to make sure she's mentally okay.
Right.
So then the therapist comes in. Catherine O'Hara comes back.
Yeah, they have her talk to an alcoholic.
Yeah. I mean, how does that conversation go down?
That, like, she says whatever answer that'll get her out of there.
Yeah,
She pretends everything is okay.
You can even I don't recall Catherine O'Hara's name, the therapist. She even calls Ellie out about lying all the time. It's kind of like just thinking back into it, having already watched it. It's kind of like a core pillar of this episode is just Ellie lying, right?
Yeah, it seems that way.
And then it kind of starts here after the screams. She's saying what she thinks the therapist needs to hear to be able to get out.
Right, and
she's already got vengeance on her mind.
All right, whatever.
Right.
Go. And you could see just
they again brought it up the last review, but how much non-spoken dialogue that they're able to portray, which Catherine O'Hara and then Bella Ramsey, how good they are as far as like telling a story with using their face and like the emotions.
Talking about her like just smiling, like acting normal in front of the therapist, and then she leaves.
She's got vengeance on her mind. We know
You can
this.
see her face slowly changing, getting darker and darker, and then she's out. She's out for blood.
Again, I feel like a really wonderfully shot scene.
Very.
So then it cuts to Ellie being dismissed, right? Or Catherine O'Hara gives the okay to
leaves, goes back to Joel's house.
Yeah, it's the first time in
really
months. Probably smells put up, really. I guess it all smells like that. It's post-apocalypse. But Ellie's first time going home since Joel's passing.
She gets there with all of his belongings, and I think she really starts to break down then.
I got here, Ellie finds his gun, and I guess Tommy brought his watch, so I guess Tommy's been there since.
Yeah.
So she finds the old was
watch.
It 32?
I don't know if it's 32 or 357.
I'm terrible with guns.
I don't know.
So she finds that, and then she starts going through Joel's clothing, and then that's when we see she breaks down.
Oh, man.
Like it really hit her.
But she,
Ellie breaks down and just starts crying.
the Dana comes in, and she kind of tries to clean up real quick, and
tries to show that she's not bothered by it.
Yeah.
Still trying to play it cool.
then Dana.
And then Dina sits Ellie down. They go to the table. She gives her cookies.
Yeah, I think it was cookies.
Yeah, she brings her cookies, and she's like, well, "What's this for?" This is like a peace offering.
Yeah. He said, like,
Why?
for eating.
And then that's when Dina tells Ellie she has some details about the people who come and got Joel.
I guess she has a very good memory.
Right.
She,
well, she's been holding on to it and probably just working through it the past 3 months. Like if Ellie wakes up, or if she don't, how we're going to do with this. And she gave enough time for Ellie to wake up. We don't know if she was just like in a coma the entire time, or if she just like had
no, I think she wasn't
spurts.
in a coma or nothing. She was just hurt real bad.
Okay, just recovering.
Yeah.
They didn't show that, but that's when Dina says we have details for Abby's group. She tells them it was she drew the picture of the WLF.
Yeah, with the wolf symbol. And I guess she asked around town.
She told them the names. She recalled some of the names.
Yeah, some of the names. Like
she
Abby
remembered
and
Abby.
Mel, maybe Manny. And Owen. Owen's one of them. I think that was...
I need to write these down.
Yeah, probably. But we won't, though.
No, I remember that. So then they decide... so she tells her that. Is it here they decide, well, we need to take this to Tommy and go get some fucking revenge.
Right. No.
So then it cuts to them going to finding Tommy, right? And then they tell their very, very loose plan. Like, hey, we know who these motherfuckers are.
And we're going to go kill them.
Yeah.
We're going to come back.
And are they tell Tommy or tell Jesse?
Man, I don't remember. But
May have been Jesse, because that's when we learned that Jesse became a member of the council.
that's right, yeah.
Okay.
And
I'll
I
have
think
to change
Jesse
that.
told Ellie that she needs to, like, speak in front of the council to...
Yeah, so if we're going to start sending some people out because we've lost so much already, people, supplies, Joel.
There's a few people that stood up and spoke their piece, and they eventually like took it to a vote, and
Yeah.
they voted not to,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah. That was a... She doesn't typically write things down, and she even said that. But, so they said, after they said they need to take it to the council to get to a vote to be able to send a squad out, or they come up with a 16, but that'd be later on. I have here, it says it cuts to us learning about the scars, the first time we see the scars.
Oh yeah, that's right. They showed them walking down a path. Or
Showed
something.
a parent and a kid, and then she's asking, like, why are we doing this? Because in the game, it didn't really go into what the motivation was behind the scars, right? It was just they were some like religious group,
Yeah,
from what I remember.
they worship someone called the Prophet or someone.
I
some
like
chick.
this part because it goes to show that they're not just like religious fanatics, even for a prophet.
I don't think
that-
they actually had a cause or nothing in the game.
in the game?
But they
So
were
this
being
is another-
persecuted though by the wolves.
Okay.
I feel like.
And he tells her, "Well, is she like a god or something?" Well, no, but they look up to her and they follow what she says. So I feel I like this portion showing that they're not just crazy religious fanatics. That although they're just following one person, and I guess it does can be seen that way from the outside in,
Yeah.
but it gives us just an inside look. Like downtime, because in the games we really only ever seen it. I mean, we hear a few conversations and stuff, but it's still made them seem kind of loony, from like Ellie and Abby's perspective. So to see this like downtime, that they are people, they are parents, and about why like inquisitive kids. Although they're not letting the kids have the weapons, he gives her a hammer.
Right.
And he even teaches them about, like hearing about it. We didn't know about the whistles. They go into the whistles here. Like that's how they communicate between yelling at each other.
Yeah.
Like something that the scars know that like outsiders wouldn't.
Right.
And I really appreciate that. They they hear them, they whistle, and then they hear. Even us knowing, they go into that, and then without going into like each different whistle, there's a whistle let out that even us as the viewers not being in the scars, we know that there's danger.
Right. Yeah.
Dude, I got chills. That
like
was good. That was another good one,
for
dude.
danger. Like
Yeah.
a whistle for.
He whistles
all
back,
clear.
and then it was just like another long,
Yeah.
like emergency whistle.
Then you can see the panic on people's faces.
Yeah,
And all
they get off the trail.
Yeah.
They go to hide,
and then that's when
Then
the
it cuts.
scene cuts. I think.
and it shows Ellie training with Jesse again. And that's where the part we kind of talked about earlier, and she's been doing her push-ups and another exercise.
Like sit-ups and stuff.
And it's where he says, "I'm almost back to where I was," and well, you're 80% where you should have been. It's got a long way to go. I appreciate these small moments. Again, we didn't get them. I don't recall them in the game, but another good.
No, I
Another
don't
beautiful
recall
thing.
any kind of training in the game.
Yeah,
You
no
just-
montage.
Yeah.
So then it cuts to the council meeting, which we kind of touched on.
Yeah.
Well, before it does that, it's when Jesse tells Ellie, "You're gonna have to speak. You're gonna have to speak if you want us to go if there's one person who's going to need to speak, because everybody lost Joel, but it was like his daughter lost Joel. So write it down, collect your thoughts, and you're going to have to speak in front of the council, the entire town. Like, town meeting.
But yeah, there was a few people that spoke. Even the old man that had that altercation with him in the dance.
Yeah,
he spoke out for revenge, like for sending a posse out to Seattle.
Yeah, there were several who spoke against and for it.
Right. Yeah. Then Ellie stood up and
he made a kind of like a case, and then there were others who saying like, we don't know that they are going to come and do this again. We need to continue focus on Jackson.
Well,
don't lose any more resources. And then he's on the other side of the coin. What if they come back? This could have been targeted. If we don't do anything, they'll see us this week. We need to take them out now.
But it's not what the council decides.
Yeah, and then Ellie gives it. And there one more speech. She says, again, going back to one of the pillars of this episode about Ellie lying. She says, "I'll accept whatever the council agrees on," which seemed genuine. We knew it wouldn't, but
no. She immediately started.
Again,
packing.
She's a master. Yeah, she's really good at lying. What do you think about her speech?
I think it was generic.
Okay.
But generic. It was passionate. Like she wanted to. Obviously, wants revenge.
Yeah.
She said she didn't want revenge. She wanted justice.
Right. Tried to make it sound more noble.
Like I think she was genuine in it, but everyone knew how she really felt.
So there being 11 members on the council, the vote comes out 8-3. No.
Right.
You could see Ellie and other members, especially like the old man, as a sign of disappointment. Like they were disappointed, and then other members, you get to see them, and you hear the chatter and everything, but like they didn't start raving yay about not, but they were happy they weren't going to lose more. Yeah, it seemed like the council voted on how it seemed like the town felt in that instance, like in the aftermath. Again, up to this point, still each scene is still enthralling.
It really is. It holds my attention more than anything I'm watching or playing right now.
Yeah. I'm thinking about next week's every I'm watching. So then next scene, people are outside playing baseball. I don't know. I guess just some downtime. They need to recover. Like all work and no play.
Very nice field.
Yeah. So they're out there playing baseball. Yeah, really upkept field.
Very nice.
And Tommy talks to
the
therapist. What's that conversation?
I don't remember a lot about it. I think the note I wrote down is Tommy talks to therapist.
That's where he says he feels like, well, he doesn't say.
I think that's
she
where
picks
she
up
calls
on
him or calls Ellie a liar. Like
yeah,
she's a
that's
liar,
where.
And
talking about how she felt. He feels that she's going to do something stupid, right? He also inherited this girl from her brother, who he was watching over. So he feels responsible for her, and they feel like she's going to do something stupid, right?
And they are definitely correct.
Yeah, they read that situation
perfectly. Then after that, what happened after that?
Shows Ellie. She's gathering up. She has not taken that no for an answer.
She's packing her shit, and she's gone.
I got here. There's loads of guns. She's gathering all the equipment. And Dina visits. What does Dina do? She brings... Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah, she comes in with more of a level head. There's always that two sides of the coin. You know Ellie's going to get stuff done, and Dina's going to make a good plan for it. Ellie... She's gathering. The only thing she's going to take on that trip to Seattle, after all that other detail, is bullets, and more bullets. Dina comes in.
On bullets.
She already has like a list written down. She calls Ellie out on it. Like, you're being really rash. I don't think she says that, but not shortened down. Like she said, we're going to be taking multiple clothes for cold weather. Are you going to be taking antibiotics? Like somebody gets sick. What if you roll your ankle?
Right.
Like your boots, all this whatnot. Like yeah, we're going to need weapons. We're going to need other stuff too.
Right.
Like
You gotta
10
survive the trip there, which will
Right.
take, I don't know how long, like a
an
month.
episode.
Well, yeah, in this case, part of an episode, yeah.
So I like that Dina is coming in with this whole other plan. Yeah, again, it makes it more realistic, and it shows that one's the more thoughtful. She knows what she's gonna do. She come in. She knew Ellie. She knows Ellie, right?
Yeah.
She
Yeah,
came
she
in and
knows.
already had a plan.
She knew how she was going to act, and she's like, all right, we're doing this thing. Might as well be the adults and prepare for a month-long journey, probably.
Yeah, and she even calls her out and she says, "How are you going to get there?" She's like, "I'm heading west." Here, we gotta go like west northwest or something. Like here's a map to Seattle. Good job, like Atlas. So then it cuts to the East Gate. They're getting ready. They're head out. They've already gotten the stuff. I think she says meet her at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Go ahead and prepare. Get all your stuff, extra clothes. Shows Ellie there. Dina, I think, was already there.
No, Ellie was there waiting, and Dina shows up with the old man,
That's right.
and they have horses, or no, one horse. I think it was one horse with all the
He snuck out
the
a
hard
horse.
tack and all the equipment they need. And old man has words with Ellie, trades rifles because his is better.
Yeah. Just
He's
tells her
like,
to
"Here,
take
have
it.
this better rifle."
Yep.
And yeah, I'm hoping maybe there's a bit of forgiveness there. I think.
It seemed like there was a mutual understanding. Both
feel like
the mutual
he's-
understanding. Both people, they felt strongly in a way.
He's still set in his ways. Right?
He is still set in his
like
ways.
someone came in and killed one of his.
Yep.
Like
He was probably he probably went and did a few raids himself in his younger years.
probably.
But there was that mutual understanding about both of them. Even though they had different philosophies, they agreed on this one that they need to go out and to go do something. And then I feel was, I'm not going to say crazy powerful, but still, the non-spoken dialogue, there was the understanding right there between the old man and Ellie.
Right.
They give that handshake.
Yep. But then they leave from there.
Yep. They
And
leave. They go a
it's-
few miles east. Earlier in the episode, I don't recall when it was. He tells them where he buried Joel, where Joel's body, the grave is. That's where they go.
And Ellie has some one-on-one time with, or over the grave of Joel. You know, she pulls out some coffee beans.
Joel
I think.
liked coffee.
Joel loves some coffee. He's always complaining about not having coffee.
That was she puts him down. It's that last little moment of remembrance before getting ready to go do what she needed to go do.
Yep.
It was touching and heartfelt.
Yep. It definitely was.
Then we get to a traveling montage.
Traveling montage. It's a
Montage!
very beautiful country. The
Yeah.
American West.
Very scenic. It shows I don't recall any dilapidated, like a town or anything, but still, like beautiful country and not touched by much civilization.
Right, yeah.
That shows them getting into, I don't know, what's over there in West Side, like a forest.
Yeah.
Anyway, they start setting up tents.
Setting up tents.
She says, we're looking for an outcrop where they can set up for the night.
They set up. I think Dina said something about the weather. Like, it might rain. And Ellie's like, no, I don't think so.
Rains.
Cut to rain.
So Ellie and Jesse have that in common. They're shitty meteorologists.
Yeah, Jesse told her, I guess.
So they set up. And then the next scene takes place in the tent, right?
And I forget what they talk about in there, honestly.
Well, they talk about the kiss.
Oh yeah, they talked about the kiss and
and how Dina was.
Yeah, I was high. It didn't mean nothing. That's why I bring it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just trying to play it cool, like you don't care too much. I guess that's what happens with young ones, even my teenage son. But she makes that comment and she says, I wasn't that high.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, trying to say that it meant something.
Trying to hint something.
Right. I like the downtime in the moment to moment. Not everything needs to be 100% action, and that's up to this point in this episode pretty much what we get. I like fleshing out the characters. We've had a few moments like they liked each other, and even though they're traveling, this is a good moment to let conversation lead the story, or at least a subplot of it about them liking each other. Don't know if anything's going to come of it in the show because 7-Eleven would have already happened.
Yeah, that's right.
But they end up going to sleep.
Yeah. But then, what happens then? Wake up and they continue traveling, and
they continue traveling, and then it cuts back to. Do they hear something? Why do they get? No, they come up on a toppled wagon.
I think the horse got spooked.
Okay.
Itself, because the horse got spooked because it probably smelled death.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And
that's when they start investigating. Dina goes off the trail, screams. Ellie's investigating.
Yeah. And I hope you didn't get attached to those scars that you like so much.
Yeah. Oh, what do you mean, dude?
So apparently, all of them got slaughtered, I guess.
That one, it did upset me, especially just like as a father, like when the scars ran off.
Yeah.
And he was holding on and like protecting his little girl, and then it showed both of them dead. Right. It hit me. You know, it did. Like he did what he can, and the little girl shoot. The hammer was right beside her.
Yeah, man, that's.
And they didn't show any remorse. I don't know. We didn't see it happen. We didn't see if they showed remorse, but they didn't give a shit.
Right.
Everybody, all scars.
And it's implied that the wolves did it.
Yeah, heavily. Yeah.
We don't know that they did it, but probably. You know, and Dana. Yeah, after Dana saw it, it's important that she came out and like puked guts out.
Yeah.
Then Ellie went to investigate as well, and that's when we saw all the corpses. It was probably some time had passed, I imagine, from when they were killed to when Ellie and Dina stumbled upon them.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily say a day and date, but that was before the council meeting, and then the entire
so they
travel
been sitting there for
weeks.
Or so.
Week or week. Yeah. It seemed like it reinvigorated, even though like Dina is there to support a friend. Mm-hmm. It really gave off like it reinvigorated or invigorated Dina to the cause about going to get these. They're not just murderers of Joel; they are murderers of people. Right. So now Dina seems like she's 100% on board. In another aspect other than just helping out a friend, which again, with the non-spoken implications of the scenes being told.
And now we're just kind of we're at the end of the episode.
Right towards the end of it.
Right toward the end. I think it shows.
They come up. They're on the horse. They see the sign. It says 9 miles to Seattle. They walk a little bit more. It's a long highway and it's overgrown, but they see Seattle.
Right.
Then the camera cuts to.
Manny?
Someone, I guess.
I think it was Manny, like on lookout.
In the Seattle Space Needle.
Yeah, was that what it was?
I believe that's what it was. And he's overlooking the town.
Yeah.
He's making call outs. They have walkies.
Yeah.
There are a lot.
They asked for like coordinates and check this place.
In the previous episode, Abby says something. He's like, "Do you know who we are?" Joel, he glances at each one of them, and I guess the mannerisms they're giving off. He says, "Army." So then, cutting to this, they got lookouts in high places, really good lookout points. They're using walkies.
They have good communication.
Good communication. He's making call outs about like where is clear. We don't know who he's talking to or for what reason. And then it cuts to another city and it just shows a few wolves walking and it pans out or stays there and then loads more.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know.
platoon, battalion, whatever it was.
so.
It seemed quite a
Hundreds,
few. So now we know it's a lot more than just that small group.
Yeah. This is an army. Or
Yeah,
the word he used, essentially.
a militarized community.
Mm-hmm.
And then it cuts off to the episode. Now we know how many we're going to be dealing with, and potentially Ellie's body count.
Yeah.
So, looking back on it, Brian, what do you think?
This
Episode 3?
It?
It's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Out of 10, Brian gives it a pretty good.
This is pretty good. I think that sits around the 7 mark, probably.
That's what I was thinking.
No, pretty good.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was touching. It gives a lot of story progression and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe it's my feeling of sadness watching the entire episode, even a week
But
later.
this is a rebuilding episode. They have
Yeah.
to establish a lot more stuff in a new setting and all that. So I would give it. We'll do a 7.5.
Okay, yeah,
7.5.
I'm happy with it. But on that note, I can't wait to watch episode 4. What we're about to do.
Yeah, we're about to watch episode 4 now because we're reviewing this a little late.
But this is Philip, Zach, and Brian. We're here at Time to Game, and this was our episode 3 of season 2 review. I guess spoilery too
Well,
of
definitely
The Last of
spoilers,
Us. Keep on gaming.
Yeah, keep on gaming.